Welcome in. You are listening to Just an Average Podcast with your hosts, Jake and Casey. As you guys can see today, not just Casey and I, we actually have a special guest on today. This is Jeff Borders, one of my assistant coaches for football, and also a police officer for the Bushnell Police Department. So, Jeff, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So actually, if you just want to give us a little bit of a kind of background a little bit, I guess, how long have you been part of the police department? What kind of led you to that career path?
Just started my 24th year 3 weeks ago. So I've been there since 2002 was my March 15th, 2002 was my swear-in date. So been with the department since then. And fun story that you can relate to is one of our other coaches that just joined the coaching squad, Coach Strange. He is actually retired from Memphis Police Department, my brother-in-law, and that's kind of where the inspiration came from. Him and my sister got married. I think I was around 13, 14 years old, and then just seeing him in the uniform and everything, I was just like, yeah, you know what? That's what I want to do. I always told people I was going to be a fireman and a police officer, and they told me I couldn't do both. So I became a police officer in 2002 in March, and I got on the volunteer fire department in December of that year. So I did both.
Nice. Yeah, and then is this your third year or going on your fourth year now, helping with football too?
This will be my third year, fourth year? Third year on your coaching staff, but it'll be, I don't want to do the math, since 2007 that I'm involved with the Spartan program or Sparclone program, whatever it was at the time. I've been involved with the football program in one way or another, whether it was broadcasting games or now on your coaching staff.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Sparclones was just.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
I couldn't have thought of a better name than that.
I think it started out as a joke, and they actually.
That's what happens when you let
thing.
Yeah, that's what happens when you let outgoing seniors vote on what the name should be.
That was a good senior prank.
Yeah, it's great. It's a burn that just keeps on burning for 3 or 4 years or however long they were together.
Yeah,
it wasn't that long. It was pretty short stretch.
Was it 2 years, 3 years? I thought it was around 3 or 4 years. But
Coach
3 years, yeah.
Coach Gully the first year, and then I know Rodis was at least 2. So
yeah. Did they just do football or did they do baseball too?
Track, baseball, softball, football.
Okay, man. Track. Okay.
Gotcha. And yeah, those of you that are listening on podcast form, if his voice sounds familiar, he was also a commentator for, I don't know how many years for football games there for Bushnell, the TSSR Game Time. I think you commentated for quite a few years for them too as well, right?
Yeah, I started in 2007 with WLMD 104.7, the radio station that it literally we used to be a Bushnell radio station. The LMD actually standing for Larry Derry, who was a big sports guy in the Macomb area when I was a kid. Created the radio station. They covered all Bushnell sports. I started full time in I think it was 2007 doing football games with Dwayne Hewlett, who went on to start TSR Game Time Live. So I did radio until 2020. COVID was the first year that I did the TSR Game Time Live, and I did that for the first year. And then, so I only actually did 1 year on the YouTube with TSR Game Time Live before I joined your coaching staff. So you stole me away from Dwayne to keep me in the same press box.
Yeah, in the same press box, you're just like an extra 3 or 4 feet away. Yeah, you went from being
could have done double, couldn't you? You could have just had one ear on the other.
Yeah,
I actually told him.
Run this, and there he goes for a touchdown.
Actually, it's verts. We know that. Don't run verts. I always want the deep ball.
All he ever calls. Yeah, always.
I think we have 100% when you have listened to me.
Okay, we're not going to get in the statistics on the play calling for sure, but it's good times.
I told Jacob, I said, hey, if you want to keep me up in the pros, up in the crow's nest, I'm fine with that because I'm used to seeing the game from up there. I said, you know how many times from the radio side of it, I've yelled down to the coaching side, hey, watch this. This guy's doing this. And whether it was Coach Akers, whoever up there, they're just like, hey, thanks a lot. So I said, I've got that experience already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because being up there and doing it from like a broadcasting standpoint, you see a lot of teams. You see a lot of teams when you're doing that, and just knowing exactly what they're going to do, because a lot of them probably have the same coaches from. 8-man's a little different now because they play different teams, but when it was 11-man, they probably, you probably saw a lot of the same schemes over the years. A lot probably didn't change.
Yeah, and the nice thing is I got to see other teams like when the playoffs came in. If the Spartans weren't in the playoffs, I went and covered like Illini West games and stuff like that. So I got exposure to a lot of football in that amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy too, especially like being on the sideline. Just I guess I still like it's hard for me to understand how much more he sees up there, because he'll say something, I'm like, what is he seeing up there that I'm not seeing down here? But you get that perspective from when we watch the game film, and it's like, oh, I see what you were seeing now. But
Well,
yeah, it's definitely nice to have some up in the press box for sure. Except when they're yelling verts every other play.
well, it's every other. At least it's not every. But
Yeah.
to piggyback on what you just said, though, I remember one of the games last year. I came down because I think we were winning. I came down and was on the sideline, and I looked at Coach Brake. I'm like, man, your guys' view down here sucks. You can't see
It
nothing
does,
down
honestly,
here.
especially me when I'm like the shortest person on the coaching staff, and compared to the players too. I'm trying to weave through everybody just to get through to call plays and stuff. So that's it's a challenge for me in itself. But
He's having kids make a pyramid so he can climb up their back.
yeah, hey guys, can we go ahead and form something here so I can get on someone's shoulders and call these plays? No, honestly, that's what I should start doing. I should just go up in the press box and start calling plays from there. You see a lot of the professionals do it. They're up in the press box, whether they're offensive or defensive coordinators. So, it's not unheard of. Actually, it's pretty unheard of for high school coaches.
You could just have Mr. Jones leave the band thing down there on the sidelines. You could just stand up on it.
The bandstand, yeah. The bandstand, and I'll get two high school kids to pick it up and carry me around. You're gonna see me strapped in and just kind of like going down this across the field.
Just leave it on the 50-yard line. You'd be all right there.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, we're joking, but that's really not a bad idea at all.
Or you could have three on each end, like one at the end, one in the middle, and one at the other end.
So I can only go to the 20, or I can only go to the 25. So really, you said with the 50, I have to stay within the coaching box. So it's not a bad idea though, honestly. But
so Jeff, so how was your role evolved over the years as a police officer? I don't know if I don't know you that well. I know of you. I'm playing slow pitch against you a little bit and stuff. But how has your role evolved? So have you moved up? Over 24 years, I'm sure you've evolved over just being just a regular old-fashioned police officer. I'm sure you probably have taken on higher roles or moved on a little bit. So just can you talk us through that a little bit?
Man, I'm going to disappoint you. I'm in the same position I started,
oh dang,
23 years ago. Well, you have to figure we have a small department. I started out there was 5 full-time officers on the department. Now we have 6 because we have a school resource officer now, which we didn't have. But when I started, we had a chief and a sergeant, and just the way things have actually evolved, we just have a chief now. But the thing with the small department is like what you're saying, like a lot of departments have like your investigations and like your we'll say like your drug intervention guys. Like we have to take on that full. We take on the full role. So if I get a case, I follow it through. So I'll get the case. If I get the chances, I'll do the interviews. I'll handle. We do have an evidence guy that we give all the stuff to him, but for the most part, it's just not like some of these big departments. You get a case, you write your initial report, you hand it over to the detectives. They take it from there. We do all of that ourselves.
Okay, so that means so pretty much you get to see it all. Then you're not. It's not like a county or a state where you just have one role and then you pass it on to someone else. You kind of do it all. So that's okay. That makes sense to not really move on then.
And it depends on like where, obviously some of the bigger ones. We've had unfortunately some kind of big things that happened here in the town the last 3 or 4 years. we'll bring state if we need like an actual crime scene done, like we'll bring in the state police crime lab. We do get help from the county, from the state, things like that. We don't do everything ourselves. I don't want to make it sound like we don't get any help from anyone, but just the stuff that we're able to handle ourselves, we do ourselves. But we do get outside help from when we need it from other departments.
I mean,
So
for
your
being
radius.
go ahead, Jake.
Okay, so your radius is just Bushnell then? I guess
Yep.
I've never really asked you that before. Your radius is just Bushnell. Gotcha.
Yep.
I didn't know if you helped out with anything. I mean, is there any circumstances where you are called to go outside of the Bushnell limits at all, or are you just
Oh
in
yeah, like
Bushnell?
any I shouldn't say any. There's been a lot of critical incidences that have happened that we've left town, and unfortunately, those are never good situations. I could mention one. You guys would know exactly what it is, but a few years ago, we were up by Avon on a critical incident.
Yep.
Like I said, those
Yeah.
aren't good
Yep.
situations that we're leaving town for. But the farthest I have been out of town, I've actually gone all the way to a Blandonsville. It was the middle of the night. One of the deputies needed assistance, and at that time of night, there's no one else on, and the other county car was almost as far away as I was, so I took off that way to go assist him. But we'll leave town if we need to go assist others. I've actually been to Macomb 3 or 4 times on calls. I think one of the first ones, I think there was even like a song that was like riding on the drunk bus at Western. There was a song on YouTube about it, but there was a large fight one night outside of the Pace with football players and everyone. And I remember that night, I want to say this might have been like 2005, somewhere in there. But the dispatch really said, if you can hear this, we need your help. So everybody was in Macomb
Wow.
that night. So yeah, we'll leave town as assistance, but for the most part, my general area of concentration is just Bushnell and the subdivision of Lake Lawn.
So
Oh, yeah.
Bushnell's really not that big. What is it like? Is it a little over 2,000 people, or is it less than 2,000 people?
It's right around 3,000. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, for 3,000 people and having 5-6 cops, that's pretty good. I mean, considering that towns like smaller towns like I think Lewiston has the county there, but
Right.
there's only one town cop ever on duty there.
Right.
But I mean, Fulton County's always there, and the jail's there, and everything. And then, like Astoria, I think has like a part-time cop, not even a
Not even full time.
not even a full-time cop, and that's for 1,100 people. So they don't even have a
Right.
full-time cop. So for Bushnell to have 5 or 6, so how many are actually on duty at one time?
Depends on the day. So I don't want to give away too much of our secrets, but
Yeah.
we do have.
He's already writing it all down.
So someone's going to listen to this and be like, okay, so this is when I need to go to Bushnell. The midnight shift, for the most part, the midnight shift, there's only one car on. During the day, depending on the day, you can have anywhere from 2 to 4. So
Gotcha.
I'll say this: Wednesday is our overlap day where everybody on the department works that day. At some point in time,
Okay.
all 6 of us
Wow.
are on duty.
All right.
So
Noted.
don't do anything on Wednesday in Bushnell.
Yeah. Wednesday is gotta take that day off. Yeah.
Wednesday is not the day you want to try to find out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. I know you touched on it a little bit, but if you weren't a police officer, I know you kind of said a firefighter would have been your other option. Is there any other career paths that you would have chose other than those two had you not been a police officer?
Looking back on things, and I've actually played this game quite a bit. Like, what would I have done? I think one of the things, and I won't say it's a regret. I try not to say that I have any regrets, because you make the choices, and that's what you live with them. But I think if there was anything I would have done other than this, I would have went career military. My father was in the military. My uncles were in the military. Their uncles before them, like I can trace like military in my family all the way back to the Revolutionary War. So I was one of the first ones that didn't go into the military. It was an option, but to be honest, it was just like, oh, boot camp or college football, which one sounds more appealing?
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
So where did you play college football, you said?
Yeah, I played at Eureka College.
Oh, okay. You play all 4 years there?
No, I just played 1 year. Eureka is very expensive.
Oh yeah, it is because I got offered to play basketball there, and I was like, I think I'll go to Spoon and save my money. I had a couple of
Well,
those D3 schools that were like, we want you to come play, and I'm like, well, if you pay for all the school, I'll gladly come play, but I am not going to go play for $20,000 a year.
So
yeah.
really quick, did they offer you an academic scholarship to come play at Eureka? And Casey, same question for you, I guess, going as far as the college route goes.
Yeah, but I mean, so they offered me academic, like there was like they give like the athletes academic on top of like some like there's like enhanced like
Yeah.
academic stuff. And I mean, the school's like 30 grand now, 30,
Yeah.
35,000 to go to school there. It's absolutely ridiculous to go to that private school. And so I was going to have to like, they're like, oh, we're going to give you like $16,000, $18,000. But then by the time I would have got out of school, I'd have been like $80,000 in debt. And I'm like, I can't justify having a degree that's probably going to start me out less than what my debt is. So I couldn't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. They couldn't even lie to give me an academic scholarship. I got a music scholarship.
They're just trying to find anything to give to you. Like, do you play any kind? You do play the guitar though, right? Guitar, bass.
Actually, in high school, I was in chorus and all that, so it wasn't that far off to give me that. We had like their variety show and stuff like that, and me and a couple other guys actually did like the national anthem before basketball games. So it wasn't like I was a horrible singer. So when they were able to give me the music scholarship because of that.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, at least you got something though. I mean, that probably took a little bit off as far as your total cost.
I can tell you, it took me longer to pay off my student loan. Oh yeah, well, it's pretty. I mean, it was just
older. It's older, yeah. And it probably hasn't changed much.
Even with my music scholarship, it took me longer to pay it off than I was there.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, 100%. I guarantee it took way longer.
I just finished paying off my student loans like 2 years ago. So I mean, it's what, almost 10 years? No, I guess like 6 years after I graduated. Not terrible, but
that's probably about the average. I mean, that's probably about the average.
Yeah,
that's probably what it took me to pay off the 1 year.
Oh, really?
And
it's expensive to go there.
Yeah,
we're talking late 90s. Remember, I'm not young, so for inflation, that's probably doubled now.
How much was it for you to go there? A year.
Even when I was there, I think when they broke it down, they didn't break it down a year. They broke it down by semester, and it was just under 20,000. It was like 18 something for a semester. If you just paid it yourself with no help.
Yeah, it was like $30,000 that was 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yep.
More than that. That was like what, 13 years ago? Wow. So that's it's you either got to be really, really smart or really, really stupid.
One of the two.
One of the two.
Yeah.
And I was just right in the middle of like, I'm not really smart and I'm not really stupid.
Oh man. Well, I mean, they did what they could. All right, we'll reel it back in here a little bit. We're gonna go kind of more on the not really like deeper part of this, but it's gonna get not really heavy. Hopefully not here. But what is the most challenging part of being a police officer? I realize Bushnell, being a smaller town, but it still has its challenges on a day-to-day basis.
It does, and I kind of told you I'm gonna try to keep this as bright as possible, but like a lot of things, just there's not a lot of rainbows and unicorns in this job. If you do, they're high, or the people seeing them are high.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one of the challenges so I thought about this, and there's two of them that I'll bring up, and one of them is just the way that the job has changed over the last 2 decades that I've done it. 20 years ago, if I told a kid on the side of the street if he was doing something wrong, and I told him to knock it off and get home, it was, oh no, that's the police. I got to listen to them, and off they would go because they were worried they were going to get in trouble. They worried that you were going to tell mom and dad. Now, I mean, they may flip you the bird and tell you where you can stick your opinion, because there's just a
Yep.
very lack of respect towards, and I won't say just my job. There's just a very lack of respect from people in general nowadays.
In
Um,
Yeah.
general, yeah.
yeah. And the other thing is, I said I would say this is probably the most challenging thing is that, like, you see someone, I work in the town that I grew up in, so some of these people I've known literally my whole life, and you know what kind of person they are, but they get messed up in the wrong things. They go away, they do some time, they come back, and you're like, all right, they're going to straighten their life up, and you just watch them just take that spiral, and it just keeps going
Again.
downhill for them. Yeah, and just it's just that revolving door of them getting in trouble, coming back out, getting back in trouble, and you're just like, I know what kind of person you are, and it's hard to see you, but as to what you come to realize in this, people don't want help unless they actually want help. They won't accept your help, no matter how
Yeah.
much you put in front of them. Until they want to get help, they're they're not going to take it.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, that's.
And
I mean, you see that all the time in like these small like in the small communities, and you being like you watching something. I mean, you being like in the community all the time and seeing all the ins and outs of everything, and then you watching these kids grow up and you just watching the situations that they go to, and a lot of time, like sometimes they're born into the situation. I mean, it's a situation that they're just bad. Like it's just you can't get away from, and unfortunately, some kids just can't get away from that. And so a lot of times, sports takes that away from kids. But there's sometimes when they get in trouble in school, and then they get kicked out of school, and then they just dwindle from there, and then they can't get a job because they don't have an education, so they got to start doing something else, and then that just dwindles down, and then it just kind of like the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree type of thing. And you see that everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere.
Well,
yeah. And go ahead.
As I say, just I've been here long enough that I am now dealing with the children of the people I was dealing with, of some of them that I started. And in fact, it wasn't that long ago. I had one. I'm like, you're doing the exact same stuff your dad did, and you're going to have the same things that your dad did. I can't tell you what happened. That kid ended up actually moving away, but I'm just like, man, this is the same things that I was doing with him 20 years ago, and now it's your turn, I guess. So yeah, it just not only does, I mean, literally, I'm dealing where the apple has fallen from the tree right beside it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're talking about, the things that are changing as far as, 2 decades for you. I mean, just from when Casey and I were in school, like just the attitudes and the respect level of kids nowadays compared to 10 years ago has changed dramatically. And, we kind of seen it when we were on our way out a little bit, but I mean, it just kind of boils down to the fact that times have changed. Like they're definitely not what they used to be. And, I mean, I'm not that old. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it a lot more, than we have for sure.
And I can tell you, it seems like they let, it's almost like they have to let more get away now. Like, it's like get away with the respect of the kids. Like, it used to be like you disrespected an adult or someone older than you paid the repercussions for that. But now it's like they can disrespect you and you can't do anything about it. Especially being a coach. Like,
yeah.
They disrespect you. You say something to them or you do something to them. They run home and tell their mom or dad, and then it's a whole situation. I mean, so now it's almost like it's a double-edged sword, and kids can be disrespectful. A lot of the reasons the kids can be disrespectful is because of the way they're raised. I mean, obviously. I mean, you see that way too many times, especially being in the school district, and you being a cop, you see it all the time. And I'm not in the school district and I'm not in there, but I can see it from the outside in. I'm one of those outside in perspectives, and you can see that a lot, and it's really sad, actually.
Yeah, there's a definite vindictive mentality now.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right. So the final question we have before you get into your story time and tell us the stuff that I got my popcorn for.
Yeah, he's already eaten almost half.
Already eaten half my popcorn by the time Jake gets all this stuff situated. Popcorn's like the bag of chips. Like, you can't just have one. You can't just have one and sit and wait. You gotta just eat it all. It's like going to a movie theater and
finishing the popcorn
for the subtitles the subtitles are even gone. So you're like, well, what do I do now for the rest of the time? And then
all the previews go through, and it's just like, all right, well, my popcorn's empty now. So
all right. So the last one. So can you walk us through your decision making process when it comes to high pressure situations? Do you have any chances to like think through stuff at all, or is it kind of just like an instinct thing at this point?
So I actually, Jake and I just kind of touched on this the other day. That's one of those things where you train for the situation. In the situation itself, you sometimes don't have time to think something out. You're more reactionary than you are um, than able to like have a plan thing. I think it was Tyson said everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, and that's kind of what you run into in
Mm-hmm.
these situations. Like, just and we can get into some of these if you want in the story time, but like in like a high speed pursuit situation, I've had a few of those. Um, you don't plan for that, but at the time you're like, what do I need to do? Because you got to keep yourself safe. You're trying to keep the people that are fleeing safe, and you got to keep everyone else around the situation safe. So you have to be able to like, okay, we're getting ready to come into a town. Do I really want to pursue this into a town to where they're going to speed through? Do I want to terminate? Um, you know, I've been in situations to where, you know, there was a knife involved, and you know, the decision's got to come to, do I have to, do I have to pull the trigger on this guy? Is this guy going to put the knife down? And you have to rely on your training, and a lot of things in situations like that, you have to rely on your verbal skills. And despite how I can talk to some of the players when they mess up, I like to think I'm a pretty good communicator in a situation like that, and being able to talk people down.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's where that's where like your training, like, I don't know how police academy training goes. But I'm assuming
like the
that they
movie.
probably talk to you like, yeah,
Just like
I
the
was gonna say
movie.
Just
like
like
police
the movie.
academy. Yeah. 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 So
It's
I mean,
like
so I mean,
that to
it's
a T.
so it's almost like, it's like being a police officer, being a EMT, being a firefighter is not for the faint of heart. Like that,
No.
it takes a special kind of person to be able to do it. And I have the utmost respect for every single person that does it, because there's been times where I've thought like, man, could I have ever done, like, you watch Cops, or you watch like movies, and you watch, or you watch something and you're like, man, could I have done this situation? Like, could I have like been in this situation, or would I have crapped down my leg and just let this person walk all over me? Like, it's like those situations where you can actually talk through someone are probably like the most rewarding, I would think. Like being able
It
to talk
is.
someone off of a situation before it escalates into something worse than it possibly could be.
Yeah.
He's smiling because I literally just told him a story the other day, and I'm not going to tell the story on here because maybe after the recording we're still on, Casey. I'll tell you the story. You'll be like the sixth person to know, because it's one of
Okay.
those things. I don't do this job for recognition. I don't want thank yous. I don't want rewards.
Right.
I did this job because it's like a self of duty thing. It's like the town I grew up in. I want to do what I can to make this town the best that it can be. So
Right.
I've done a few things in my career that people have called dumb, people have called risky. Um, hey, you're risking your own life. Well, you know what? It's kind of what I signed up for, and if I can save someone else in the process, you do things like that. The guys that want that notoriety, they're not doing the job for the right reasons, and they're out there.
Yep.
But like I said,
Oh yeah.
there was a
All
story.
over.
There was a story that I told him, and because it was to the questions like, "What's your?" Um, we were talking. He's like, and I was like, one of my best moments on the job is this story right here, but I'll never tell that because I don't want people to know that story. I don't want people being like, "Wow, it's a story for me." It's I'll tell Jacob when it's just me and him, but because I know he's not going to go out and make a big deal out of it. So
Right.
it's a situation like that. But yes, when you can do something like that, and when it's done, and you can sit back, and I won't lie, sometimes there's in this call in particular, when it was all said and done, and I didn't even tell him this, when it was all said and done and everything was handled, and I was back at the office, I let a few tears fly because it was an emotional situation. It was a high risk, it was a high reward, high risk situation. Everything worked out the way that it should, and it was all said and done. It was just like you have all that stuff built up, and you have to let it out, man. Uh,
Oh yeah.
you
Or
know,
to lead at you,
being
probably. I mean,
Yeah.
being the tough guy and holding that stuff in, that's not the thing anymore. You can't
Yeah.
do that. You have to let those things out, and after that situation was done, It was over with. And I'm just like, I'm glad I could do that.
Yeah, for sure. And, I know you can't share that story, but is there another memorable moment, that you had that you'd be willing to share with us that kind of sticks with you? And it can be deep. It can be more on the comical side. That is completely up to you.
I'm putting my mic down real quick. And I'm grabbing the popcorn.
I got the whole popcorn thing. I'd fill you up if I could. I'd give you a little extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do a quick intermission.
I still got half a bowl. We're good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you a comical one. It kind of comical. It does involve a car wreck, but I was working one night and we get a call that there was a car accident out in the county, and rollover vehicle in a creek. So what had happened? There's an S curve on one of the county roads out just outside of town. Um, I don't want to speculate. Now this has been probably 15, 20 years in there, but it was a guy and a female, and I think he might have been showing off a little bit because it was a sports car with T-tops and everything in it. Well, the guy went through the S curve too quick, got in the loose gravel, went down the ditch, rolled it, and actually ramped a creek and landed upside down on the other side. It kind of embedded in the bank with it kind of like at an angle with the creek underneath of it. I was the first one to get out there. They're both out of the car. They're both hurt. But they were able to get out of the car, climb up the ditch, and get back up on the road. The guy was complaining about the back. The girl, I think, had like a broken arm or something. But as we're sitting there the whole time, Rodney Carrington is playing from the car stereo. And I don't know if you know who Rodney Carrington is, but as we're all trying to
he's on my top 5 comedians of all time.
So as you're trying to do a professional job with people who are hurt, Rodney Carrington is playing from the wrecked car in the creek, and you're laughing because it's funny, but you're trying to help these people, but they're laughing too because now they're laughing at you because you can't quit laughing at the CD that's still playing.
What was the song?
It was the whole, like, it was one of his CDs of everything, like his stand-up, the songs, like it was everything. So I can't tell you specifically what it was. I just remember the whole time we were there until they finally went down and cut the battery cable. So that way it's one of the things you do to prevent the car from like catching fire and whatnot. But when the fire department finally cut the battery cable and it shut off, there was a good 25 to 30 minutes that thing was just playing. And I'm trying not to laugh when I'm the only one there. The county guy gets there, he starts laughing, so I start laughing. Fire department gets there, they're like, what are these guys laughing at? Then they start laughing. Now the patient's laughing, and every time they laugh, they're in pain because they're hurt. So I had to rack my brain for one of the better incidences that I've been on that I could share. That one's been old enough too that I don't even remember who was in it. So but I guess if they are listening to the podcast and that was your accident, sorry we were laughing.
Well, they did. I mean, I'm assuming, like you said, they knew why you were laughing, correct?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Okay. No, that's good. I like that. It's you being 24 years on the job. I know you've probably got several stories that you could share, and it might be one of those times where we just all get together sometime and we just have story time for sure. But obviously, for the sake of time, that's really, really comical one. Obviously, it's not too deep. Before we move on to this next one, though, I'll give you the opportunity. Is there any other stories that you would want to share before we move on to this next thing?
Man,
you don't have to, but it's out there.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this one. So I hadn't even been on the job a year yet, and since I brought it up kind of earlier, I said we could touch on it on story time. So February 2nd, 2003. I'm not even in my 1-year mark, so I'm still on probation. And I have someone writing with me. At the time, he was a county auxiliary officer. You would now refer to him as Chief Hood. So at the time, he wasn't even a part of the police department. He was an auxiliary officer for the county. We had a retired squad car. It was a 1995 Crown Victoria. It ran on us. It wouldn't pull over. We ended up chasing it out of town. Got all the way. I'm sure you guys have heard of Cornerstone. You guys remember Cornerstone here in Bushnell? the big religious festival that used to be out at just east of town, outside of town? No?
I do not know. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Well, there there's there's a place called Cornerstone Farm. It's like almost right on the county line road, just east of Bushnell. But this car ended up, we were on the back roads. We were out there, kind of out there where, trying to think who would live out there. It doesn't matter. But long story short, we ended up wrecking the squad car. To this day, I still believe I hold the record for the longest squad car ramp in McDonough County. It was 93 feet from where we took off to where we landed.
Wow.
It should be noted that we landed sideways because of some maneuvers I had to take to where we didn't hit the large embankment and only the slight embankment that made us ramp. So yeah, and one of those high risk situations, like high stress situations, that's all reactionary. There was, and
Yeah.
I do have it on video. If you have a DVD player, it is viewable.
I have a DVD player.
maybe one of these nights at a coaching meeting, I'll bring it with, and
that'd be awesome.
It's but yeah, so that would have been close to 23 years ago, but I still hold the longest squad car ramp for McDonough County.
Nice. I mean, so not even a year on the job, and you already get a record. So that's pretty cool. I'm assuming.
And you're like, man, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Let's see how many more records I can break.
So the fun part was one of the Fulton County deputies was one of the first ones there. We got I had everyone arrested. We had them in handcuffs. We had them detained. And as more help got there, the Fulton County deputy walks up and he's looking at, because it was wet February 2nd, like it had been warm that day. So like the top layer was mud, but then everything was still frozen underneath of it. And you could see 3 tire marks all the way across the field where we were sliding sideways and the one tire wasn't touching. On the video, you could see that the car was actually getting to the car was just getting to that apex where it was going to roll. And that's when we hit a tree and it dropped back down.
Yeah.
So that always makes me think of the, what is it? Black Sheep, where Farley's rolling down the hill and he grabs that. He's like, thank you, little tree. That's my thank you, little tree moment. But the Fulton County deputy
underrated movie.
Yes, very underrated. So the Fulton County deputy looks at me and he goes, so what were you thinking during all of this? I said, honestly, man, I'm so fired.
I wasn't thinking. All reaction.
As we were sliding, I'm like, oh man, I'm so getting fired for this. I did.
And here you are 24 years later.
Spoiler alert, I didn't get fired.
You made it. Yeah, I'm still here, still around. Oh man,
they actually cut your probation short, and they're like, you know what? You don't need probation anymore. That's just talent for not rolling this bad boy. So
he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
Make it till you make it.
Oh man, exactly.
That's everything.
Yep, that's everything for sure. Well, last little thing here. On every single one of our podcasts, we always do either a draft or a ranking, review, bracket. And I thought it was only fitting, because I know that when you work nights and you're always, whenever you're setting out, we always talk about different snacks that you're eating. We're going to do a blind ranking of the best snacks to eat on the job. All right. So these are the best snacks to eat on the job. You get 5. And I already have a list made up here. So I don't know if you've done this before. So how a blind ranking works, you've got 1 through 5. Okay. I'll give you them in the line here that I have, and you have to place them, and you can't move them once you place them. Gotcha. All right. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Your first one is Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Where are you putting that?
Bottom.
Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
That'd be the last choice.
So that's 5?
Yeah, for some reason that it just, as you know, I like hot stuff.
Yeah,
I make my own. I grow my own peppers. I make my own salsas. I make my own hot jams. Those things just taste awful. Yep. To me, they do not have a good flavor.
Wow. I'm not going to lie, putting this together, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get him with this one because he likes hot stuff. So he's going to put this at 1 or 2. Dang. Okay.
So do you go to Taco Bell?
I do. You can't tell.
I mean, all right.
The chili cheese burrito
do you ever
still is the best.
Do you like the grilled cheese burritos?
I've had it one time and it was okay. Like I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't something
I see why you probably wouldn't like it because it does have those not flaming hot cheese. It's got like the flaming hot Doritos in them.
Yep.
So that's probably why you wouldn't really like, because they kind of have that taste. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I don't like them plain, but I like them in that. I like them in like with other things like that. So
that's crazy.
I would have put that one. I would have probably put that one at my very, very bottom too.
That would have been one for me. Flamin' Hot Cheetos, so good. Love Flamin' Hot Cheetos. All right, so you've got Flamin' Hot Cheetos now in the 5th position. Your next one here is beef jerky. Beef jerky.
I like beef jerky. We're gonna put that at a 3.
Okay, beef jerky at 3. Got it. All right, this next one here, jelly-filled donuts. All right, I'm not making any kind of jokes or anything. Donuts are just on there, just on the list.
Little stereotyping. It's a 4.
No, not at all.
It's a 4.
All right, jelly-filled donuts is a 4. Okay. I want to get your opinion on this final list once you complete it here. All right, your next one, Twizzlers.
Ooh. See, this is tough because I don't know what the last choice is going to be. And Twizzlers are good. Twizzlers would be either 1 or 2, no matter the list. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put Twizzlers at number 1.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Does it matter what flavor, or just original?
Nope. You're going in there. You can choose any Twizzler you want.
Please do not say you like black Twizzlers.
No, I like the orange creamsicle ones.
Oh,
I've never had them.
I haven't either. That actually sounds really good.
Yeah,
where can you get those at?
I will. I get them at the gas station. I think Walmart usually has like the great big pack of them. Yeah, Walmart usually has like the great big like family size bag of them.
Oh, I'll have to try them.
Yeah, they're absolutely delicious.
I'm not a huge Twizzler person, but I think that if there was different flavors, I would.
I'm not a huge Twizzler person either. While we're still on the topic of Twizzlers, but what are like the Twizzlers that come in like the tin can? Those are actually really good. The tin can Twizzlers, whatever they are, those are delicious. I don't know what they're called, but they are good. Someone brought them to school one time, and I'm like, oh, I've been seeing these like advertised all over the place. Tried one, lived up to the hype. Pretty good. But your last one here, this is going to the number 2 spot, is baked pretzel combos. So I don't know how you feel about those. Some people love them, some people hate them.
Yeah, I like combos.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. There's a lot of people that don't.
Combos are a underrated snack, in my opinion.
I don't know how I feel about them. I'm kind of indifferent about combos personally.
Which ones do you like the most if you were to eat one then?
I like the buffalo. I think it's buffalo wing or something like that.
It's fair.
I like those.
Yeah, those are actually kind of decent.
I also just like the plain cheddar ones, like the cheddar cheese flavor. Those are
the cheddar cheese ones. Yeah.
Yep.
I tried the pizza ones. Pizza ones are so bad.
The pizza ones are good, dude.
I'm with you. I just tried those the other night, and I didn't even eat the whole bag. It's like, also I'll be honest. My snacks also depends on what's on the Casey's reward app that I can get extra points for.
That's fair, yeah.
So,
that is fair.
Especially here lately, like they've actually had a lot of protein bars on there. So I've been trying a bunch of different protein bars. So I'm like, I'll eat this for 300 bonus points.
Yeah, I almost thought about putting a protein bar on there, but I'm like, no, he'll put that at 1. Whatever protein bar I put on there, he'll put it at 1. So I can't.
See, my thing is, I don't even use Casey Rewards app, the Casey's Rewards anymore, because one time I went in there to use them. Well, one time I went in there to use it to get like gas, and it said I didn't have any rewards. Someone used my phone number and took like all of my rewards. So ever since then, I'm just like, I don't have rewards anymore. Someone used my phone number and put it in the gas pump. Probably just put a random phone number in there and
No,
it worked.
I knew your number when I was doing it.
Yeah. You're lucky this is a PG podcast.
Yeah. No, I'm totally kidding. All right. So really quick, I want to go through your list here and tell me if there's any of these that you would change. So you had Twizzlers at 1, the baked pretzel combos at 2, beef jerky at 3, jelly-filled donuts at 4, and Flamin' Hot Cheetos at 5. Any of those
No,
you would
man,
change at all? Or is that
that's actually
wow,
it. That's it.
Made a perfect list. And you didn't know any of these. I did not tell you any of these too either. So
I think
wow.
I think it ruined it for you when you thought I was going to put the Cheetos higher. The
Yeah,
donut actually, on any other list, if the Cheetos weren't on there, the donut would have been last.
Do you just not like donuts, or do you just not like jelly-filled donuts?
I don't like jelly-filled donuts. I'll be honest, my favorite donut is just a simple cake donut with white
Glazed
icing
one?
and sprinkles.
Oh, okay.
That's
I think I
when
knew
I was
that.
when I was a kid. That's what my mom would always get me. So on certain days we'd go to my grandma's house, and that's what we would. There used to be where Casey's is. There used to be a grocery store there, and they made all their own donuts there, and they were just the greatest donuts still to this day that I've ever had. And it was a white cake donut with white frosting and sprinkles. That's the donut right there for me.
I think the few times that we've had donuts in the morning on Saturday's practices, those are always the first ones that you go for. So
Yep.
See,
I like break for
I
one.
don't like.
Yeah.
I like the
I'll do it.
pudding. Like I like the pudding filled donuts. I don't like the jelly. Like I don't like jelly, like raspberry jelly or strawberry jelly in them or whatever they put in there. I
Right.
want give me the vanilla pudding in the middle of it.
I like the glazed like cake twist type donuts, whatever they are. They're literally
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know what they're called. Maybe that's what they're called, but they are delicious.
Now
Probably my favorite donut when I actually eat donuts.
I'll say this. As I said that the cake donut is my favorite, there is a place in the Quad Cities that you can get a bacon maple donut. So it's a maple long john with maple drizzled on bacon and the maple frosting, and it's like that is
Hertz
the donut. Hertz donut.
Hertz
Oh,
donut.
wow.
You brought them. You actually brought them one time and let us all try them. There was like the Oreo and they had the bacon one,
Yep.
and yeah, those
Wow.
were delicious. Those were delicious.
You get the Homer Simpson.
Anything with bacon and syrup.
Yeah, yeah. You got
The Homer
Definitely.
Simpson. What's the Homer Simpson?
It's the pink donut
yeah,
that you
the
always
pink
see him
one.
in the cartoon.
pink donut.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I think when he's
brought that
sitting
one
there in the
pink one with
office,
like the colorful sprinkles.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
you can get they have
Awesome.
a Bart Simpson, which is a Butterfinger
You did
crushed
not
on
bring that
top
one
of
in.
it. Wow, that one might have
Ooh.
disappeared.
That one didn't last the ride
That
home.
one was on the way.
Yeah.
I ate that
So-
one away.
You have to remember, I bought a dozen donuts. That doesn't mean I
You brought in like 2.5.
There was like actually, I think I brought in like 8 or 9. I'm like, I cannot keep these at my house. I will eat them all,
Yeah.
and then I will be a lineman coach.
I tried all the ones you brought in. They did not disappoint. They were really good, for sure. But we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Borders, I really appreciate you coming on here and kind of sharing those stories and whatnot, and giving us a little insight to the police department. And before we get out of here, I know I told you this. I gave you a heads up. Your last piece of advice so we can end this podcast.
Be accountable for yourself. You're the only one when it comes down to it that you're the only person you can count on. If you go through life expecting others to do things for you, you're not going to be successful. Be accountable for yourself and take accountability for your actions. If you do that, I won't say you'll be successful in life, but you'll be ahead of most other people at this time.
Nice. All
I know,
right. Awesome. That's a great way to end it.
It's not what I told you I was going to say, but I thought about that.
No, it wasn't. That's awesome. Well, hey, thanks again for coming on. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
What you want,